And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we have a delicious dessert for you. This is Tres Leches cake, which means 3 milks, and you'll see why in just a little while. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that we have an affiliate link with Chef's Temp. If you need a kitchen thermometer or meat probe, please check out the link in the description below, and if you use code LOVEYOURFOOD on checkout, you'll get 15% off your order, and that's great for you. In the meantime, let's check out our ingredients. So we've got some flour. We're going to use sugar in 2 different ways here. So that's just plain white sugar, some eggs, some baking powder, some salt, a little bit of salt, some heavy cream, some milk, a little bit of vanilla. We're using vanilla paste, but you can use vanilla extract for this as well. Some sweetened condensed milk and some evaporated milk. So the heavy cream, the sweetened condensed milk, and the evaporated milk make our 3 milks. And we'll show you those after we get our dry ingredients together. So first things first, we're going to get our flour and baking powder and salt mixed together. And then we're going to separate our eggs. So once you've got your eggs separated, you're going to make sure that you have your egg whites in a perfectly clean container, no oil at all in there. It matters less for the yolks, but the whites have to be in a very, very clean container or they will not whip properly. Which is exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to bring these up to soft peaks. We're going to add in the smaller of the 2 measures of sugar. And we're going to mix them all the way to medium peaks. You could take them to full stiff peaks, but we're just going to take them to medium peaks this time around. Here we are at soft peaks. This is where we add in our sugar. And we're going to get those all the way up to the medium peaks that we're going to use in the final recipe. So there we go. Here is our medium peaks here. So you see they're not quite standing up on their own. That means that they are medium peaks, not stiff peaks. In our other bowl, we are going to combine the rest of the sugar with our egg yolks. And we're going to beat those until they are nice and light colored and just about to the ribbon. Now, this is not the direction in the recipe typically, but we want them nice and light colored and very, very fluffy and certainly well combined. We're also going to add in our vanilla bean paste. And again, if you want to use extract for this, you can. It's perfectly fine. And in goes the milk. And we're going to mix that together until it is all well combined with those nice beaten egg yolks and sugar. And they don't need a huge amount of whipping, they just need to be combined. To that, we are going to add our dry ingredients. So here comes the flour, baking powder, and salt. And that's going to get a good mix, but we're just going to mix this until it comes together. We're not going to beat this until it gets super smooth or anything. So we're going to leave it like this. This is the sort of consistency we're looking for. If you find that your flour is a little dry or something, you can add just a tiny, tiny dribble of water. We needed to add just a tiny bit, or a little bit of more milk as well. Then we're going to add about 1/3 of those egg whites, the beaten egg whites that we had before. And that first third you can afford to be a little rougher with and knock a little bit more air out to combine it. The second component here, the second addition of the egg whites, we really want to more delicately fold this. And we're going to leave this honestly not super evenly combined. So you're going to see when we put this into the cake pans here, it is still pretty uneven. It's not super combined. There's little areas of egg white and areas of batter. So that's fine, and it gives a really interesting texture in the end. If you would prefer to bring this all the way to a more smooth cake batter, that's certainly fine as well. Now you want to make sure you get your cake into all the little corners in your buttered, floured cake pans there, and into the preheated oven that goes. And while that starts, we are going to make our soak. Now, here's the real secret of the Tres Leches cake. It's going to soak in this combination of sweetened condensed milk, evaporated milk, and heavy cream. And this is not, you don't need to sweeten this any more than it already is, because that sweetened condensed milk is extremely sweet. And then that cream just adds a little bit more richness to that. and you want to mix that together until it's all well combined. Those are three things with pretty different densities, so you want to make sure you get those well combined and nice and smooth, and you don't want that sort of gradient that you can see in the measuring cup before you start using it. Meanwhile, we're going to take our cakes out when they're done. You can see here they are nice and golden on top, beautiful crust on top, and they are done when a wooden skewer comes out clean. You can see here, that's perfect. Those are nice and ready to go. And once they have cooled, you see they've come away from the sides of the pan a little bit. We are going to put some little holes in it here. We're just going to use that same skewer to poke some holes in it, as you would for anything that you would add a soak to. And we're going to soak them. We're going to let this soak up a bunch of this milk mixture, this tres leches mixture. And you want to make sure it's going to get good penetration, so that's where we're going to poke those little holes in there. And don't use all of it this first time around. You just want to get the mixture up to about the level of the cake, and then let it soak in, and then do it again. Now, we let this sit overnight before we served it, which worked very, very well. You do want to make sure that you get a good soak in there. It's going to seem like a lot of the soaking mixture, but once you start letting it soak in and letting it really work its way into the cake, that cake will take up a lot of that mixture. So here you can see after that second soak and letting it sit overnight, most of that mixture is in the cake. It has soaked it all up. And that makes for, as you can probably imagine, an incredibly moist cake with a lot of flavor. All those amazing milky flavors combined together, and cream. It's very rich. It's quite sweet because of that condensed milk. And we're going to, add a whole nother leche on top here. We're going to add some whipped cream. You can see some vanilla flecks on there. So a little bit of vanilla whipped cream and some of our strawberry sauce as well that we showed a couple times. Just for a little extra flavor and color on top, which is delicious as well. And you can see how beautifully moist that is in there. That soak has really penetrated the cake. It's really delicious. And that's it. That's the whole thing. This does take a little more work. You do need to do this the day before. You want it to sit overnight in that soak. And save that soak. If you feel like the cake needs a little bit more, you can add more if you still have some left. And that's fine. You can even flip the cake over if you really need to. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. We'd also like to thank our patrons over on Patreon. Thank you for supporting us. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, I will put a link in the description below for that. And remember to love your food.